right back here on Cable 14 for the first time in 9-10 months. It is my pleasure to introduce my broadcast partner, Neil Srivastava, and joining us right off the top to open up the season, Hamilton Cardinals General Manager George Halim. George, it's great to be back. Thanks for having us again.
Absolutely. Thank you for having me. We've been looking forward to this for a while.
Absolutely. I mean, since last season came to a close, and what a season it was for the Cardinals, a rebirth of baseball in the city of Hamilton. Neil and I had the best seats in the house to witness that rebirth, and you have gone from it being reborn to thriving at another level with the roster you've assembled for this season. Maybe an easy one right off the top, but how much fun was it over the offseason putting this group of players together?
The most beneficial thing about getting bounced early in the playoffs was that we could start early for the following season, right? So that was our only competitive advantage in losing in the first round was we took all of like a few hours off and started immediately, and it was fun, right? I mean, I've always seen this job as, and I've told the players that this is like MLB The Show to me, right? And this is franchise mode, and this is my fantasy team in real life. And so to have the ability to spend a full off season, because I got this job, I think last November, or so it was in November, and so I didn't have the full fall to actually plan. It was more put a roster together late. So this off season was much more peaceful. The roster is more or less full. And so we want to get down to business with the guys that we have and start building towards culture. And I feel like we have that so far.
You were under the gun a little bit to start last season. As you mentioned, November was really the start time for you. You still end up with the MVP and Tyler Duncan. You bring him back. Brandon Nicholson comes back, one of the big acquisitions. Luis Bernardo comes back, a rock behind the plate. Tanner Rempel is back. He really caught fire. And then you added a bunch of new, fresh talent around them. How exciting was it to be able to go out and pick up a pitcher that can throw with both hands, a few extra arms out of the bullpen, a few players through the field to secure both your infield and your outfield? And where was the starting point? Where did you want to get better? Or was it just, we're going to make every position better?
No, we were looking to upgrade at the spots that we needed. You got to be good up the middle. And that combined with the import situation, the way that I saw it was the imports are here to be stopgaps for the positions that we haven't filled locally yet, right? The ideal perfect world is that you have a bunch of imports that are arms because you can't get the type of anomalous arm, such as an ambidextrous Japanese arm, locally. And so until we get to that point, I had to get the imports that were going to play the positions and impact the game in a way that we needed. So shortstop was a focal point, right? I started out with getting Katsuya. It's funny, Larry and I were saying that we have moved on from, I think, 3 or 4 guys this season that we signed for this season that never even played with us this season. And so I'm always trying to upgrade the lineup while maintaining the culture. So I got to be conscious of that. But generally speaking, there's no one area. I mean, I still feel like we have the best outfield in the league. We definitely needed more pitching. That was always the focal point. So to start loading up on arms immediately, I already feel better with the arms we got coming out now and the options we have at the beginning of the season than we did all of last season.
Before I pass it along to Neil, I will mention that the man who's moving over to shortstop is the MVP, Tyler Duncan, to become what I believe would be the world's biggest shortstop. He's a player who wants to play that position, though, George. An incredible athlete at that size. We saw it last year in the outfield, some of the ridiculous grabs that he can make. How special is it to have a player of that size with that athletic ability to come to you and say, I'm an MVP, I can drive this team at the plate, and I want to play one of the most important spots on the field?
The circumstance surrounding Dunk going to shortstop was a decision Dunk and I made collectively that would benefit the team, right? So when we had Katsuya at shortstop, it was because we didn't have the Canadian shortstop, right? But then when Duncan caught wind of that, Duncan's a team guy. The thing that makes Duncan the MVP isn't only the tangible stuff that he does on the field, it's the intangibles that he brings to the clubhouse off the field. And so to have the ability to walk in and take command and just say that, he never said, I'm going to be the best shortstop. He just said, I'm going to do it and help us win because I'll do anything to win. And that freed us up to keep Higuchi, which now allows us to have, if you want to call the ambidextrous arm 2 arms, 3 import arms because Duncan made the decision to play shortstop. So that decision is now going to have a ripple effect on how I can strengthen the roster, add more arms, all because the MVP made a very MVP-type decision for the club.
Absolutely. Neil?
And what you're going to see this year is because now what you've also taken, you've taken over as the GM of the junior team as well.
Yes, sir.
So now you've got opportunities to, I don't want to say hide players down there, but definitely develop some more younger players that can come into these roles in the next 3-4 years as well.
Yeah, hiding isn't really the word for me, right? Like, I want to make sure that we knock on the front door, let everybody know we're coming.
Yeah.
It's no secret that I took over the junior team and overhauled it because I don't want our IBL guys to get hurt or struggle at the dish and feel like they may lose their job to somebody that's outside of the organization. I really want culture to really bleed down to the junior team. That's why you see junior guys out on the field, because they will be the ones that step up and make that play when our IBL guys can't. It feels better when a junior guy within the org gets the game-winning hit as opposed to the guy that you just signed to fill in the blanks.
Yeah.
And that's the kind of culture we want. And it's going to take time. It's going to hurt, but it hurts more when you just keep killing culture and keep trying to rebuild. It takes longer to rebuild culture than to find talent, right? And so I may as well start now in the culture, develop the talent, and see what happens.
I've been around that a lot, George, and obviously you know my work with the Bulldogs on the hockey side of things, and the length of time it took Steve Stais to come in and how he made everything about culture first. It was about getting great players, but it was more so about getting great personalities, building that culture to not win once, but to continue to win. We saw the beginning of that, the groundwork laid last year. The ultimate goal is obviously to win a championship.
Right.
But what are the immediate goals right now for the Hamilton Cardinals? What's going to say to you, I'm seeing that culture beyond what a Tyler Duncan has said about moving into the infield to help the team win? What are the next steps in seeing that culture come forward?
I want to see how they carry themselves, right? I mean, I made a lot of changes over a bunch of months this offseason, whereas last year when I made all those changes at the deadline, you could see the type of shift in culture that was. And so I have long-term goals with the Cards, and I also have patience. I don't think that you can have long-term goals and not have patience.
No.
So with the patience comes the growing pains of the unknowns. You have a bunch of young guys that don't have a ton of experience in the IBL, but you have a lot of gifted ball players, and my goal is to hunt out the good people that happen to be good ball players, because you can teach them, right? And you can teach them to be better ball players, but I can't teach them to be good people. So what am I striving for? A headacheless, easygoing, chill as the wind type of season where they can play relaxed. We're going to try some new things. We're going to try and implement some data and some tech and some of my ideas and use this as a platform. But in order to do that, these guys got to be patient with me, because I'm also trying to win. I'm not doing anything I'm not trying to do anything other than compete. And they know that that's where my heart is, and that's how we can roll. So, yeah.
You referenced franchise mode in MLB The Show earlier on.
Yeah.
And you just brought up bringing data into the scenario as well.
Uh-huh.
How much fun is it to be in your seat and be able to have the freedom with Eric to say, yeah, I want to do this. I want to bring data in. I want to have more tools in my belt, and have an owner that goes, yeah, let's do that.
It's the most empowering feeling in the world. I was talking to Larry about that yesterday, and one of our junior coaches, about how one of the driving reasons why I took this job was because I got a baseball stadium and a baseball team and a platform. There's no amount of money that measures the ceilingless ability we have here in Hamilton. And that's what I'm striving for, is you couldn't pay me enough to just get a baseball team, do what I want with it, and if the end goal is win within the budget, that seems pretty straightforward to me, and it's my job to do it. So it's a close to home, biggest dog park in Hamilton for Oakley, and I just get to watch these guys.
You'll definitely see Oakley and Ren getting along, probably for sure.
Yeah.
The season.
The city and I are at odds, but I think you give it some time. We got to win, and then they'll let him on. But you get a winning record with the dog around, they might let him on the field a little bit.
Oh, 100%, 100%. We've seen that happen before.
But no, that's where we're at. It should be a fun year. I want to use the data. It would be a decent year for that.
So how does a guy like Lennon Picotta wind up coaching the Hamilton Cardinals?
How does he wind up coaching the Cardinals?
Yeah.
Very carefully, right?
Yeah.
He was the manager of Bernardo's professional team in Nicaragua. I was looking for a manager. After Dean decided to move into the role with Larry and I in the front office, I had it in my head that the only guys on the Hamilton Cardinals roster that were getting paid to play baseball were my imports. And so it logically made sense that in the one role I needed somebody to think about nothing but winning in an impartial way. Why wouldn't an import make sense? That was just a very easy decision. So I went out and looked for an import. He happened to check off all the boxes. He happened to have played in the bigs with the Expos, and he knows Canadians, and we know people in common. And baseball is the smallest world in the world, right? And when you meet people in it, you just feel like family. And so he fits in so well. His culture, his vibe, the way that he is around our players, the way that he is around our staff. For a new guy to feel so welcome is, I don't know, it makes you feel good about Hamilton again, all over again. So,
love it.
Yeah.
You see this today. A school day game. We're going to do another one tomorrow. This place is packed. The kids are already going nuts. We can hear it in the headsets.
Yep.
How exciting is this, George, when you think of what this is going to be like along the season? This is just the first of many, many packed days, nights at Bernie Arbor Stadium, and you're smiling already.
Yep.
Yeah, because I remember doing my interview down there last year and telling them that I have never looked up in the bleachers and not seen 3,000 people, and we're getting closer.
Yeah,
and that's all I'm going to say is we're getting closer, and how can this not be a sign of growth?
No, absolutely. When Eric came in, he made the statement, it is the most undervalued sports product in this area. He was exactly right, and you've already seen what 1 year of work from Eric and yourself and the players on the field have done to reinvigorate baseball spirit in Hamilton. It was always a proud baseball tradition. It felt like it went away. Now it's back in a big, big way.
If I may, I'm going to say that everybody in New York played such a huge role, from Joey, game day staff, Eric, Larry. It's been a fun time.
Down to the field for the national anthem.